Good day, this is Thumbs United. I'm doing our Let's Play of Uncharted 2. This is episode 1. Not the game archive. I edited this earlier, and I did the game archive versions, and then I decided I'll do the voiceover and make this a Let's Play as well. Really enjoy Uncharted. This is Uncharted 2. Never played Uncharted 1, but from what I heard, the people that played Uncharted 1 say it's like a clone of Uncharted 2. That Uncharted 2 is
what's going on?
That Uncharted 2 is a clone of Uncharted 1.
That's my blood. That's my blood. It's a lot of my blood.
But then I've also heard a lot of people say that, play Uncharted 2, then play Uncharted 3. I think I got the PS3 pretty late in the cycle, and I think it was Ratchet and Clank was a game that came with the PS3, the bundle that I got. So that one was the first game I played. So that was funny because our TV has has a component and doesn't have any HDMI. So when we finally got next gen console, and we can only do standard definition to this bigger TV. It's 61 inches. And then the other thing is the cable that came with the PS3 that wasn't HDMI. It was like 4 feet long. I kid you not. And so we opened the PS3, and then of course the controller is not recharged. So the PS3 is like connected to the front of the TV, and then the controller is connected to the PS3. It's not charged, and so we were sitting when we were playing the game. My sisters and I would hand off the controller, like once somebody died, and so we'd be playing the game like maybe 3 feet away from the TV. So that wasn't good for the eyes. Yeah, so, and then this was back when Blockbuster was around. Where I live, where I live, there's not a lot of game stores. I mean, there's a couple in the mall, but I don't really like going into the mall so much. It's kind of funny, there's like a curfew, not in the whole city, but like a curfew in the mall. And so I was in the mall with my mom and my sisters, and we're walking down, and then the mall cops come up to me and they're like, "Sir, it's past the curfew. You have to leave now." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "We need to see your ID." And I was like, "Seriously?" And then, so I guess what they thought was like I was just some dude, like a teenager, This is a while back, and I wasn't a teenager at the time. I was like 22, which is funny because even at like 18, I looked like a 30/40-year-old. I just look way older than I look. When I go places, people see me, my mom and my sisters, and they're like, "Oh, your daughters are so wonderful." And I'm just like, "They're not my daughters, they're my sister." And they're like, "Oh, horrified." And so I thought it was funny that they thought I was like underage. And they're trying to kick me out of the mall. And my mom was like, "No, he's with me." And they were like, "Oh, sorry, sir." Blah blah blah. But so it's kind of sketchy mall, and I don't like going there. I don't like going to the malls in general.
Buy me a drink.
So there is like a small game store in there, but I don't go there. And so I actually got this game from Blockbuster.
I'm looking for you, mate.
Uh-oh. Should I be flattered or
They
worried?
did a lot of
Maybe a bit of both.
selling of used games. I was really happy that I got it.
I've got a job for
I had a
us.
lot of fun
Really?
with Uncharted 2 and
Client
Uncharted 3.
is willing to part
But
with a
Uncharted
huge sum
3
of
I bought
cash if
new
we
from
acquire
Amazon.
a certain object for him.
All right, I'm listening.
Now, you're not gonna like this.
Oh, no. No, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, you just hear me out for
No,
a second.
Flynn, we both know two people who were killed trying to lift something out of this
And
place.
one who made it out.
Yeah, barely.
I can't do this without you, Drake. You're the only one who's cracked it, and you know better than anyone. It's a two-person job.
No.
No, I
Three,
don't.
actually.
In terms
Right.
of going back to malls,
Speak of the
I
devil,
don't
here
really
she comes
understand kind of the shopping culture.
What?
Chloe Fraser.
I mean,
Nathan, Drake.
Hello,
I'm
Harry.
always trying to save money.
Chloe is one of the best
So
drivers in the
essentially,
business.
the only time I go to
She'll
a
take good
mall
care of
is
us.
like
I
to
bet.
eat food or something. Like there are
Right,
a couple
look.
malls that have good restaurants,
I've got it
but
all figured out.
other than that,
Go in,
and maybe
through
watch
the
a movie.
sewer.
But I
Loving
don't
it so
really do
far.
that so much.
That puts us in
in
the
Michigan,
courtyard.
right?
From there,
Usually
we
go to-
scale up the wall, run across the rooftops, and just drop down into
Not
the
that there's
exhibit
not good
hall.
movie
Pops
theaters
you
and
up.
malls. It's just
And what
I usually go
is
to, like,
worth
a
all this trouble,
dedicated,
I hear you ask?
movie theater
I
in
didn't,
Michigan.
but go ahead.
When I'm in California, a lot of times I'll go to
But that's it.
the mall,
An oil
the
lamp.
movie theater that's in the mall. But
It's worthless. I don't get it.
Neither do we. That's why we tracked you down.
Well, it sounds like you're working for a nutcase. Some collector who's got too much time and money on his hands. And by the way, this is not worth any of it.
But there's more. How's your 13th century
but then
Latin, mate?
the other thing about the mall that I kind of don't understand, like everyone's
you get
getting
this?
so excited. You know,
All right,
like
then.
for example, you go into the
files of
Apple
the
store and
nutcase.
it's like people have never seen technology before.
Trebizond, we were
And it's
set
just
upon
like,
by
oh my god,
thieves.
it's a madhouse.
Father,
You know,
Maffeo, and I were
and
robbed
like
of
you
our
go into
greatest
the Apple
treasures.
store and everybody's
This
like,
was written by Marco Polo.
Yes, that
one, they're
much
there for like
we
ever.
were able to work out.
It's not that they're
Unfortunately,
like
the rest
waiting
of
in
it's
line, but
nonsense.
Hey, hold on.
like a lot of times the kids
So
are
that it
just
should
playing
not
on
fall into the wrong
the
hands.
iPads and the
I concealed my
phone
great
and
sorrow
iPod
in
Touch.
the unlikeliest place.
and they're there for like
The light of the great Khan
30 or 40
shelters
minutes.
the fate
And
of the
it's like, oh my
13.
goodness.
See what I mean? It's
Whenever
just
I go
too-
there, I try to, go in quick and get
He's
out. But
talking
usually it's
about
not
the
quick
lost fleet.
because I have like some problem
I know,
with
someone
Genius
wanna
or
fill me in.
whatnot. I have
Marco Polo leaves China.
our
with
family
600
computer was a
passengers and 14 ships,
2009
loaded
iMac.
down with treasure from Kublai
It was
Khan.
working great.
And he lands in
but
Persia
then,
a year and a half later.
Something
with only
happened to the
one ship
BIOS
left and
on the
only 18
motherboard,
passengers.
and you just can't
Now,
boot
he
up.
recorded
And
every
like
detail of his
occasionally,
journey, but he
once in a
never
while,
told
I
what
can get
happened
it.
to all those ships.
I used to be able to
and
get
the
it to boot
passengers.
into the operating
So,
system, but
so
now
somewhere out there, there are
it can't
13
find-
ships loaded with the
can't
Emperor's
find
treasure waiting to be
the
found.
operating system
and
can't
that
even
is
load
what your client is
the
after.
hard drive, and the hard drive works
Look at this
because I can
lamp.
get to go into
It's covered
target
in
disk
Mongolian
mode.
script. It must
And
have been a
target
gift
disk
from Kublai
mode
Khan.
is like
The light of the great
It, like,
Khan
it takes the hard
Fate
drive
of the
of the
13.
Mac
Marco
and it
Polo
turns it
hid
into like an
something
external
inside
hard
this
drive, so
lamp.
you can plug
Something that
the
pinpoints
Thunderbolt
the
or
site
Firewire.
of the lost fleet.
You can plug it into another computer, and
So,
the iMac's hard drive will
We're
show
taking
up
this guy
as
over, right?
Damn
just
straight.
like an external drive. And so it's really helpful because if
And
you
then-
can't boot, you can turn it into essentially
the
a
hell?
really large external hard drive, and you
What
can
could
back up all your
possibly go
files.
wrong?
You can clone the disk, and so I can do that with the iMac, but I haven't been able to get the BIOS to work. and Apple doesn't really put their BIOS out. They do. They have system restore disks, but they don't do a system restore disk for every computer. It's like a clump of computers, and so like you have a system restore disk for like all iMacs between the years of like 2007 through 2009. And so whenever I tried using the software restore disk, it didn't work. And so doing all the research online, so they say I have to go back to Apple Store, and that they have like a special way they can reflash the BIOS and everything. So it's like it's on the to-do list, but right now I'm just haven't done it. But the last time I was in the Apple Store, at the time we thought it was a hard drive problem. So we were there for like 40 minutes, and they were like, well, we can back it up for you and then, reformat the hard drive. So we sat there for like 45 minutes just backing up the hard drive, and it's a terabyte hard drive. So it took forever, and then finally we were like, you know what, we'll just do it at home. So I was able to finish the backup at home, but like I said, we just haven't gone back. The Apple Store is an hour away from where I live, so it's a big production. And then of course you're like one of those, not weirdos, but kind of like nerds, because you're carrying in this huge box because it's a 24-inch screen. And if you're not familiar with the iMac, the entire computer, the motherboard, the hard drive, everything except for the mouse and keyboard is all built into the screen of the computer. So there's no actual like desktop or anything. It's just a really big screen. And I highly recommend the iMac. I mean, it's lasted forever. It didn't really have problems till 2009 iMac we got in early 2009, and we didn't have problems with it until 2014. And like I said, the problem it has now, I'm pretty sure it's going to be easily fixable. It just has to be done by the technician.
Hello. Well, so much for foreplay.
You mind telling me what the hell is going on?
You mean with Flynn?
Yeah, you might have warned me.
And missed the look on your face? Anyway, you haven't exactly made yourself easy to find.
Talk about making yourself easy.
Oh, you're not jealous. Let's not forget who walked out on whom. After all, you don't get to be jealous.
Wait a minute, Chloe.
If it makes you feel any better, my relationship with Flynn is strictly professional.
Really?
Mostly professional.
Oh.
When I figured out he was actually on to something, I thought you'd want to be in on the action.
So what's the plan?
Just like we said, we pull the heist, find the ships, and we make off with the treasure.
And then
With Flynn.
we had
And then we split the take 3 ways, and you and I just
yesterday in
disappear
art class we had a substitute.
together this time.
It was the same art
I see.
substitute teacher we had before
Until then,
a couple weeks
he
ago.
can't know about us.
But
He's
usually when we have a
gonna be
substitute,
pissed.
the teacher just gives us like,
Gonna be fine.
2 or 3 videos we have to watch in class.
Trust me.
And then we have like this question and answer form we have to fill out. And so, I mean, it's like direct quotes from the video we have to watch. And then we have to like fill in the blank. So you really have to pay attention. And it's almost distracting because instead of watching the video, because I mean, it's about art and everything, I mean, you spend so much time just like rereading, the phrase and then listening for the exact part that you're getting quizzed on. So it's kind of like a distraction from looking at the art. But, I mean, I guess you have to do it because you don't know if, the other way, you don't know if the students are actually paying attention or just like on their phones and whatnot. And then the other thing is it actually counts as attendance for the class. But it's funny because, our art teacher, she plans out our class well, but the two videos we watched with the substitute, they ran until like the last maybe 7 minutes of class, and so the final documentary finished and we filled out our form, and the substitute's like, okay, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to finish your forms and write your notes. And then she said, and then I'm gonna, open up. She said something funny about, like, open up this compressed file or something. And I was like, that's weird. Why is she telling us about compressed files? And then, and so she downloads the PowerPoint. And by the time she downloads it, and she told us, she was giving us time to fill out our paperwork. And
You sure you're up for this?
it was like
Feel a lot
1
better
minute
if I had a
later.
gun.
I was like, you
Won't
were joking
need 'em.
about giving us a minute.
A little insurance,
And
that's
then,
all. Flynn, they're
I mean,
just
everyone
museum
was,
guards.
like, looking at
we have
the
their
clock
patrols
'cause,
all mapped out.
And then
Relax.
she opened up the PowerPoint
Relax.
and she was like, okay,
Relax.
what can you tell
Have
me
you ever
about
been
this,
in a
this, and
Turkish
this?
prison,
I was like,
mate?
oh,
If
brother.
we get caught, they will
Yeah.
lock us up and throw away the sodding key. You do realise that, don't you?
Audience
Better than you
interaction.
do. Well, you
Interaction,
may
yeah.
fancy that kind of thing, but I don't.
we
Can't afford
by the
to
time
make
she
any
started the
mistakes.
presentation,
Yeah,
we only had
and we
like 3
won't.
minutes left of class, so we just
We're
why
here.
start with only 3 minutes left? So she only did like 2 slides, but she asked the class like 3 questions that nobody wanted to answer, and so like finally other people started to answer. So that was. But then, the other classmates, they're kind of rude, and in both classes, like it will be like maybe
This way.
5 minutes before class, and you can just hear everyone starting to back up. Even if the teacher's still talking and the lecture's
So
still
what do
going
we
on,
do if they
everyone's
switch the
backing up, and
patrols?
it's just like,
Figure it out as we go.
where does everyone have to
cannot
be?
fumble our way
Class isn't
through
over
this.
I
yet.
don't fumble. I improvise.
Oh, is that what you call it?
Our
Yeah,
computer teacher
I'm,
jokes because she usually finishes
Adaptable.
class
You cocky bastard.
like 10 minutes early. And she
There.
said, I'm not dismissing you, but
What did I tell you?
this is lab
That
time.
passage there is going to
And-
take us right under the
And she
museum.
said,
You called it all right.
You need to have a little more faith in each other.
if you decide to leave during
Okay,
lab time,
this
I
one
can't
here
stop you.
is me.
But class is
remember,
still going
that
on.
tower's our
So
only way into the
everyone like
exhibit.
chuckles,
But we
and
can't
then
even
they
get
leave
close with
during
those
lab
floodlights
time.
on.
We've gone over this.
Just make sure you cut the power by the time we reach the second courtyard.
I always find
The
that
lights will
funny.
be out.
And she says it like
I'll
every
have the man
class.
waiting at the rendezvous
Yeah,
point.
it's like
Just
that.
make sure you get your
She's
asses
consistent.
out of there in time.
But
Fair
that's my
enough.
computer teacher.
All right, enough chat. Let's
And
do
so
this.
I might have said this in the other Let's Play, but we got back our
Chloe.
test, our
See you on
midterm
the other
test.
side.
We I guess a lot of people
Looking
bombed it
forward
or
to it.
something. So she said that anyone who wanted to could re-answer the essay questions. It was like take home. You
Sure
could
you know
take
where you're
the test
going.
home and re-answer
know
the
your
essay
ways.
questions, and she would regrade it
Don't you love
if
the
it
way
was
the
like a
water
better
makes your
answer.
jeans all
But she said,
squidgy?
if the answer is not better, you just get the same score as the other one, which is nice. Your score's not going to go down.
It's like the good
And
old days,
so-
isn't it? Yeah.
The
When were those again?
it was funny because when she handed it, so she goes to hand them back. She's like, "I'm going to hand back your midterm test after the regrading, after it's been resubmitted."
Oh, wait.
And I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
can't be
'Cause
right.
then she starts talking about
Must have made
she's
a wrong
like,
turn
"I could
somewhere."
really tell who took good notes and who doesn't, and who like
Now,
pays
what do you
attention
bet
during
that
class."
will take us
And I was
right
like,
into the
"Oh
boiler room?
no." Did everyone bomb the
There.
retake too?
We're
And I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah.
Did that
In
did
like
she not like
Flynn,
my
right?
answer? Because
What?
my answers were
In like Flynn.
they weren't the
I don't get
same,
it.
but they were like really
Just give
more
me a
in depth.
boost.
And I talked about extra things that I didn't have room to talk about on the test because we had a small page, small section of the
Here
page
it
we could
comes.
answer each question on.
Thanks.
And so when I re-answered my questions, they were like, each question I
Almost
re-answered
there.
was
You ready?
like a page and a half.
No glory.
And so so after she's like scared me to death, and I
Here we
thought,
go.
dear Lord, I didn't get any better score. I got my test back, and I got all the answers I decided to redo. Instead of being like 3 out of 5 points or 4 out of 5 points, they were all came back as 5 out of 5 points. So I was like, oh, thank goodness. And so my
reach up
final
there, grab the
test
ladder.
score was 99.9%. And I was like, can't we round up? I mean, it's 0.9%. But I thought that was funny. But yeah, I mean, this is the second time this teacher has done that, where she gives me a heart attack. And then it turns out, she's not talking to me. And I told my mom this, and she's like, yeah,
All
well,
right.
you just
This is the way
take
to the
everything
courtyard.
personal. A lot of the stuff they say has nothing to do with you.
Well, we're not going
Like,
this
I
way.
know, but you don't know that
Not if you
until
wanna keep
you
your skin.
get
All
back
right.
your scores and
There's
everything.
got to be a shut-off valve around here somewhere.
See if you can find it then.
But that'd be terrible if there was like a kid who had a heart attack from like something a teacher said.
You got it.
Everyone failed except for one person. The person has a heart attack, and then they realized you were the one person that didn't fail. But I feel like that would be me. I mean, I don't really talk a lot in my computer class.
Okay. Now there should be a door just around this corner.
I mean, I have a
our
lab
access
partner,
Once we're through,
we get along
just stick to the
fine.
plan. You got me?
and
Tell me you didn't miss this.
it's pretty much when we have to like,
here,
work
aren't
with
I?
the computer. One, we have workstations we sit at during class, but then we have a computer. We have to break it, and then we have to fix it.
It's
And
locked.
so we have to do it by like going through the operating
job I
system
came
files
prepared.
and doing disk
I
partitions
picked
and
more than
everything.
my nose, my friend.
And
Wait,
so it's funny because
there's an alarm.
we split up the work 50-50,
It's nuisance last
where I do everything with the mouse and he
Now
does everything
what?
with the keyboard.
Well, I can disarm it. if
It's
you can
actually
find
funny
the
'cause,
junction box.
On the last day we were repairing the keyboard, he didn't come to
It's got
class.
to be around here somewhere.
And so I had both the mouse and the keyboard. And I was like, wow, I have so much power. And it just made me grateful. I was like, could you imagine if the way people designed computers was that it had to be a 2-person job? Like half of the
There.
person,
That ought to do it.
one person had like half the keyboard and a mouse, and the other person had the other half of the keyboard, but like the mouse with the left click. And I was like, thank goodness.
Shit.
And so it was,
I got him.
I mean, it was a lot faster with the computer being a 1-person job, but you also don't have to pay attention as much because you don't have to like really watch what the other person is doing. But that's not the story I was going to tell. But anyway, so I was saying I don't talk too much in the computer class, and then there's this guy
There's the
who's,
tower. Yeah.
I mean,
we can only get to it from the roof, and we can't get to the
He's
roof
like-
from here. We're gonna have to make our way to the next courtyard through that
I
gate
feel
out
like
there.
he's always like bragging, and like even everything he does
let's
is
do
kind
it.
of like showing off. And like he'll come to class early, and I get there like 15 minutes early, and he's always there before me. And he's like playing a YouTube video on full volume on his computer, no headphones. And it's always like some guy reading tech specs, and that's literally all it is. It's just like a person reading tech specs about different servers and server grade CPUs and everything. It's just like, oh
We've got to
brother,
get up to that balcony.
because he's like, oh,
We can climb the
I
gate over here.
watch all these
Got it.
hardcore press releases and everything, and it's just like, stop. And so he last week he started getting to the point where he starts telling everyone, you know, what processes they need and which ones are cheaper and which ones are more expensive. And it's like, oh my goodness, you know, like let them decide what processes they need. And so like he's quizzing like the other students, like how much they make and who's on like welfare and who has social security and whatnot. And he's like, oh, you can totally afford this, you know, if you have, you know, 300 after your after all your bills are paid off, if you're on social security. It's just like, first off, one, you don't need to be sharing your financial like situation in class. That's like too personal. But you know, the other students who, you know, were talking to him, and then and so that happened last class, and then this class he turned to me and I was like, oh, hi, and that was the mistake. I should have just smiled and looked away, but I said hi to him, and then he, you know, started chatting up a storm with me, and I'm like, dear Lord, this is not the relationship I want. You know, let's go back to how it was. You know, I just sat next to you, nobody talked, it was fine. But he was like, oh, you know, if I had a budget for a $10,000 PC.
Night.
You know, this is what it would be. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to show you like all the good parts you can get for $10,000 if that's your budget for a PC. And it's just like, don't. One,
Be able to lift this up.
it's because like I already went through that phase of life where I would sit down with spreadsheets, like Excel spreadsheets. That's how nerdy I was, and just price out like different components and you know, like how to build the fastest computer and with the most cores and RAM and the best graphics card and running in Crossfire or SLI. And I did a lot of different like just spreadsheets of it, because like in high school and stuff I wanted to open up like a computer business that would sell like high-end computers, not so much for gaming but for like architectural and CAD design, as well as animation and video editing. And so like that was like my target audience. So you really need a high performance computer with all the hard drives and everything. And
Easy.
so like I've done those calculations. It's just like I kind of moved on. But he's like, oh no, like you have no idea what you can get for $10,000. And it's like, dude, I do.
Right.
You know, it's not interesting to me anymore. I didn't say that. I was like, oh yeah. And so he's like, look, you can get a $400 graphics card, and you can get two of them and run them in Crossfire. He's like, Crossfire is basically when you run two graphics cards, you know, together. It makes them like a dual core. And I was like, stop, I already know this. One, he doesn't know that I deal with servers. Two, doesn't know I deal with, you know, animation rendering and everything. I wasn't gonna like tell him about it, but he was just like on and on. He was like, oh, see, this part is like $4,000, and then he's like, oh yeah, throw in, you know, 2 4K displays and a 4K TV. And I was like, dude, you don't know what I do. And he's like, I didn't tell him this, but it's like, I shoot and edit in 4K. You know, I know. Like,
Now we
I
just
know
gotta
how
find a
like
way up to that window.
intensive
Damn
that
it.
process is. I was just like, oh. And I don't know, it was just funny because, I mean, he was totally mansplaining to me. He's like, stop. And it's like, wow, now I know why, you know, mansplaining gets annoying. I mean, I always understood why mansplaining was annoying, but this was like your stereotypical experience. So, we'll see if he's like a chatterbox next class. Yeah. And so then he acknowledged, like,
Shit.
later, and once the teacher came in, he was like, "Oh, hello." He's like, "Oh, my caffeine finally kicked in. I feel really hyper now." And it was like, no wonder he's chatting everyone up. Oh dear Lord. And see, this is the thing. My class is at 11, and I don't know. I was kind of raised like you don't eat sugar or sugary things like before 12 because when I was little, my parents were like, you need to give your body a chance to like wake up and everything, and sugar's not the first thing you should have in the morning. And so, I mean, this guy comes to class, in the morning with, like the big gulp filled with soda, and he comes with Coke and everything. And it's just like when I come in, it's like, dude, it's 10:40 in the morning. Isn't that a little early for soda? But he drinks it.
Sleep tight.
And it's like, that is not healthy at all. And don't get me wrong, I'm half a healthy person. I mean, I eat organic. I like to eat a lot of my fruits and vegetables. I'm trying to cut down on carbs, but I do try to eat like medium amount of fat, like yogurts and cheese and dairy products, and then
Damn it.
I eat a lot of protein. But
Head to the fountain.
so I'm conscious of like what I eat. But then again, like I go to a movie theater and I will get like a large soda every once in a while.
Head to the fountain.
My mom and my grandmother, my aunt's, she's not coming to, quite coming in town. She's visiting her daughter in a couple states over, and so whenever they do that, they're like, oh, we'll come visit grandma, because right now, my mom and I are taking care of my grandmother, and and so
Damn it.
anyway, so we're taking care of my grandmother. So they're like 3 states away, but they're like, oh, we'll meet you halfway, so you can visit with grandma. And
Sleep tight.
so that's what they're doing today. They left like 3 or 4 hours ago. Has to be like minimum of 4 hours ago. So I'm watching the dogs, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have movie time. I almost never watch TV. I used to watch like more of it, but I don't know, I got tired of like commercials and everything.
Lights out.
I mean, it just seems like it's a pill for everything. That's not even like, it's not necessarily like, young people problems. It's just like, oh, is this, right? Is like this part failing, or like all these, not cures, but like treatments for diseases. But, and then it's like, it's really often, it's like every 10
Now we
minutes,
just gotta find a way up to
or
that
5
window.
minutes. And then like towards the end of the show you're watching,
Damn
they
it.
start having a commercial like every 2 minutes. That part gets really annoying.
Head to the fountain.
Well, we got a new cable package. And my mom really likes the news channels and the late night shows. And so far it's a new like X1 with Xfinity. And I mean, it's significantly better than than the way it was before.
Damn it.
And my mom got it because she wanted the voice search, and I was like, that's not gonna be any good. It's never gonna recognize. Now that's all I do. I just like tell it HBO, I tell it Curb Your Enthusiasm, and like I think of a movie I want to watch, and I just say the movie, and it's like, here are 5 different ways you can watch it. And because we got like the bigger package, it includes like more of the movie channels, and so the other day I was just going through the TV channels, and I was like, oh, it's Lego Batman. Love Lego Batman. To be honest, I almost feel like Lego Batman's the best Batman movie ever. And it's incredible that, there is Batman versus Superman, which is an okay movie. I mean, it's not great, but it's not that bad. And then, like, how is Lego Batman so much better than that?
Damn it.
They need to get the crew, though. The people who wrote and crew that did Lego Batman, they have to get that for, like, the DC cinematic universe.
Sleep tight.
And the other thing is, like, I really identify with Batman. It's just like,
Müze kapalı. Night night. Damn it.
and so I kind of felt like the movie was like a movie that was aimed towards me. It's just like, these are the things you need to do to improve your life, Don't be like Batman. I was like, oh, that was a nice journey to go on. And I thought, like, there was a lot of good character development with Batman, and like the whole premise of like the Joker being jealous and not feeling appreciated. I mean, I really like that premise. But anyway, so I had that to watch on the DVR, and so I went with the dogs down to watch TV. We have our TV in the basement, and then and so I finished the Lego Batman movie. I was laughing the whole time. It was great. And there was a couple of parts where I almost got choked up, but then I was like, oh, I'm having a good time. I'll watch another movie. So just on a hunch, I was like, I think it's been a while. It's been like a year. I'll watch a Monster Calls. And oh my gosh, when I first watched a Monster Calls in theaters,
Night sunshine.
I got so choked up, and I really think, like, if there is a person who can watch that movie and like it doesn't bring like tears to their eye, like, you're not a human. You're just not.
Damn it.
So it would be like a great way to test, like, if there are aliens among us and have them watch that movie and they like have no emotional response, then we know they're an alien. The lizard people. But anyway,
Damn it.
I hate this part of Uncharted. I just hate it every time. It's just so bogus. But anyway, so I went to watch Monster Calls, and oh my goodness, I mean, there were parts of the movie in the beginning. Well, the other feature of the Comcast is that this is not an ad for Comcast. I wish I got paid, but I don't. But
Sleep tight.
so I just used voice command. I was like, a Monster Calls, and it was like, there are 3 different ways you can watch it. You can pay for it, or you can watch it free streaming on demand. And I was like, free, please. And so I was surprised that they had it already on demand. And so I watched it, and there were like scenes within the first 10 minutes, and I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I remember when this happened, when I watched it in the theater, and like, this part leads to this, and this is important here. And it was a great movie, because even though I knew what was going to happen, just like living through it again, it was just like, it really feels like it opens you up emotionally, and I mean, it yanks at your heartstrings. I mean, there were parts where it's just like, I was like bawling. And so, but that's kind of why my nose is like a little stuffy now, is because I was like crying. And there were like scenes where it's just like, stop, this is like too emotional and everything. And like, they don't pull their punches with that movie. But my dogs were having an issue. Like, they will watch TV with my mom, no problem. They love hanging out with my mom, and
Crap.
you know, they don't really complain that much to my mom. But if I watch TV with them, it's just like, no. They have demands. They're like, we know we can get Lloyd to give us treats. We know we can get him to like take us outside.
Orada biri var.
Night, night, sunshine. Shit.
And so, anyway, so today was the same problem. It was like every 10 minutes during Lego Batman, they would, you know, start barking, or like, we want to go outside. I was just like, I don't know what you want, because I'd take them outside, and they're like, we don't have to go to the restroom. And it's getting to the point where it's like, we can't, I mean, we can go on walks for them, but it's like really cold, and it's not good for their paws. And so we're not doing like as many walks with them as we usually do. And so, you know, I'd take them out to the restroom, and they're like, we don't have to go. And I was like, then why did you want to leave the basement? And they're like, we just wanted you to get up. I'm pretty sure that's what they're thinking. And so then
Sleep tight.
I brought down a snack for them, and it took them like, it's like these potato bones, and supposedly helps to like clean their teeth and their gum.
Sleep tight.
But so I gave that to them, and like, I think a normal dog, it would take like maybe 40 or 30 minutes for them to eat. Our dogs, they eat it in like 10 minutes. And so they finished it, and then they were like, rah, 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 rah. You know, we want this, we want to go out. And I was like, I don't know what you want. And so one of our dogs, really trustworthy, we had her since she was born. And then the other dog is a rescue noof, and she is a troublemaker. So, I mean, we have to be in the same room as her all the time. And if we're not in the room, then we put her in her crate, and she hangs out. And she likes it in there because it's like her own room. She has her blanket and all her toys. And so she's really good about it. She just chills out. And so my first dog, her name's Beatrice. I let her go upstairs, and I was like, okay, you can go upstairs and hang out if you want by yourself. But then the other dog, I was like, you have to stay with me.
Crap. Now what?
But anyway, this funny thing
Time to
happened.
tip
So then
the
I went to
odds.
watch Monster Calls,
Back in our
and
favour.
like there were parts where I'm just
that's
like,
brilliant. Guns?
I'm
What do you think?
uncontrollably
Relax,
sobbing.
Gandhi. They're tranquilizer
You know, and
guns,
it's like
totally
ugly crying.
non-lethal.
And
Your conscience will remain
I
unscathed.
was like, don't look at me.
Oh.
And the rescue dog's name is
Good idea.
Zoe, and she was like,
Okay, a little bit of
it was
advice.
funny.
These
because-
things have lousy range,
I mean, I
so we
think she
still have to
understood
get
that I was
close.
crying and whatnot. Because
You okay
then,
with that?
you know, she came and started barking at me, and I was like, okay.
Know how to shoot a gun,
And
genius.
I have this, our dog's skin is getting a little irritated, and so we're applying this cream on them for their skin. And so I was like, okay, you know, because I was like, I knew she didn't have to go to the restroom because I just took her. It's not time to feed her yet. And so I was like, maybe this is what she's trying to tell me. And that she's like itchy or something. And so I put the cream on, and then she was like, oh, thank goodness. And then, boom, she laid down and it was like resting. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. But then I saw her looking at me, and she's like, are you crying, Lloyd? And I was. And then she started barking at me again a little later, and I was like, "Oh, do you need more cream?" Like on the other side, because I only did one side of her, so I put it on the other side, and I looked at her eyes, and they were like, it was like she was crying, you know, and it wasn't quite like tears. It was more like kind of mucus or whatnot, and it was more than a little bit, and so I was like, "Are you like sad because you think I'm sad?" And I'm like, "I'm not really sad. It's just a sad movie. I'm trying to explain it to my dog."
We gotta get up to that walkway.
So I just thought that was funny. But I read somewhere that dogs are so aware of like human emotions that they know which side of their face is like more honest, and it's not necessarily like one side of their face lies more. It's more that one side of the face is shows more expression than the other, and on every person it's like a different side. And dogs will like find that one side of the face, and they'll like study it and like they'll like perceive a person's emotions by it. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Oh, yours.
Where I was like, it was always like, "Don't cry, Lloyd." And I'm like, it's okay. it's not like real sadness. It's fake sadness.
Eller yukarı.
Thanks, mate. Come on.
Alright. I think I'm gonna take the elevator next time.
But I mean, with dogs, how restless the dogs were getting, and I don't know. Like, I want kids in the future, but like taking care of the dogs, it's just like. And this is the part that worries me a little bit about taking kids in the future, is like there's a whole period, you know. I mean, dogs can't talk, so you're pretty much guessing, you know. It's just, what do you want? You know, what's the problem? You gotta go to the restroom. You know, why are you agitated? And then kids are like that too, where, you know, for the first couple of years, you know, they can't talk. You don't know what they want. You don't know why they're sad, why they're angry. You know. And then the other thing I'm noticing is, like, my cousin has kids, and sometimes they just want to be angry, you know. They're looking for a reason to be kind of like, not overly emotional, but I mean, like, they're having a bad day, and if one more thing goes wrong, the kids are like, that's it. Not throwing a tantrum, but just like, just kind of like, not a happy camper.
Memnun muymuş? Mutluymuş öyle dedi.
And then, oh my goodness, my grandmother. It's funny, the other day I was like, you know, one day, Mom, I'm gonna move out of the house and live on my own. And then my grandmother was like, yeah, you have to get married when you live on your own. And I was like, no, that defeats the purpose of living on my own. I was like, I'm gonna live by myself for a while. And my mom was like, good luck with that. You probably won't survive. Accidentally kill yourself with like a dirty plate or something that was left out for a month. But my mom was like, yes, you need to go live by yourself eventually. And I was like,
I'm right behind you.
As always.
And I mean, like, I have no issue with my family or anything, and they're not pressuring me to move out or anything, but it's just, yeah, I would like to start to become like more self-sufficient, where it's just like I'm really self-sufficient, and like I have a ton of responsibilities and I get everything done. It's just like financially I would like to be to a point where like I'm not just making money, but I'm like making enough to save and to do more things, you know, pay rent, save up for my car. Because right now it's like make the money and then bills, and the bills suck it all up, so there's not much left over.
great view. I can see your house. Let's get moving. There's a guard right below you. Nearly there.
Yeah, but why are the lights still on?
Chloe will take care of it, don't worry.
And then kind of other games I'm playing in my free time.
Quick, take it out.
You're here, why?
Well, one, I beat Mirror's Edge. Pretty sure I talked about that before. But turns out when I stopped playing, I was like, I was like
We can't get any closer with the tower
90% of the
lit up
way
like
when
that.
I
What the
stopped
hell's she
playing.
doing?
So then I only had like an hour
Come on,
left
Chloe.
to play, and it was great
That's my girl.
up until the very last, one of the last cutscenes, where it's like these two enforcer characters, and you're essentially trapped in a room. You have to run around the room to dodge them, and then they have this bogus kind of like animation takedown,
Okay.
where they'll do like a roundhouse kick, and then you get hit with the kick, you do a backflip,
Ladies
and
first.
then
Cute.
the game acts like you can move around after the backflip, but then the character will come and hit you again, and that kills
Yeah.
you. So it's a 2-hit punch, and you end up dying like every time they start it. But this time I kind of found a way to like
Oh, there it
to
is.
dodge it a little bit.
There's the acoustic
It
alarm.
was just so
Until we get
frustrating,
this
and I
case
hate
unlocked,
when
that
games
thing's
put
gonna
in
go
like
off
these
so much as
boss
touch this glass.
characters,
No
which are
worries,
just,
mate.
I mean, they just glitch. I mean, there was a couple of times where I would be to the side of the character, and they would do this kick, and I wouldn't be anywhere
We're sure
near
it's
their
the right
foot.
one.
but then the game registers
there's
it
only one way to
as
find out.
like I'm taking damage. And I'm just like, I'm not even
Sorry,
close to that
Marco.
person. And the game's like, oh, but they hit you, so you only have 1 bar of health left. I'm like, oh my goodness. And so the game does that a lot with these two characters.
Crap.
And then the big deal was that there were 2 of them. Like usually
That's
that you only
the
fight one at
understatement of
a
the
time,
This is it.
but
It's bloody
towards the end
useless.
you had to fight 2 of them off. So because that took forever,
The light of
really
the great
stressful,
Khan.
not fun at all. And then
Wait a minute.
there's like a final scene where
What
you
are you
did
doing?
a little bit
It's
more
resin,
running
it'll
around,
burn.
like you do in Mirror's Edge.
Just give me your lighter.
And then the game was finished.
Really
and
a
I was
good
just like,
idea
wow.
in here.
And so it would have been a great way to finish the game if it was just like didn't have those 2 boss characters at the end. But
You see
in a
that?
lot of games they'll put that in there, and it will take
Our ships were
like
driven
instead
by
of feeling
a great
good
flood
that you
tide
completed the game,
into the wilds of
it was
Java.
a fun game.
Sounds
You just
like we were hit
remember
by a
like
tsunami.
the anger you had
Somewhere off
during the
west
boss.
coast of Borneo.
And so when you finish,
It's
you're
down
like
a
you're
bit.
not happy
Look.
that you finished. It's just like
This
oh,
mountain
that
must
was
have been
just.
the closest landmark where
bogus.
they went aground.
But overall, the game was
Find
good.
that mountain. We find the ships.
And
Good work, mate.
Wait, there's more.
I really look forward to
As
it.
if the ocean
There were some
itself sought
parts
to
that
throw off
I
the
felt
terrible
like
cargo.
They
carried
really
from
sped up the ending.
Shambhala. The curse of
But-
the Chintamani.
Would that mean something to you?
Shambhala.
It was
my
a good
God,
game
Flynn.
overall.
What?
And
Marco
so
Polo found
I
Shambhala.
uninstalled it. I have it on disc,
Shangri-La.
but there's a couple of
joking.
updates and
If they were
things you
carrying
have to
the
install
Chintamani
after you
stone,
install the disc.
it might still
So
be
I
there.
uninstalled it, and
It's all
then
very
I
fascinating, but we
I
really gotta go.
reinstalled
Yeah, I'm right
Tomb
behind
Raider. Not Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's just it's kind of the first
What the hell are
one.
you doing?
Sorry, mate. This is where we part ways.
Wait, Flynn, we had a plan.
No, you had a plan. Turns out I've got one of my own.
Come on, throw me the rope. Don't be stupid.
Oh, yeah, right. You're the mastermind. Only you overlooked one little detail. Didn't you, partner?
So what are you gonna do? Shoot me now?
No, I just need you out of the way for a little while. You think I didn't know about the ships from the beginning? Any schoolboy could have figured that out.
Flynn, listen.
Face it, genius. You've been played.
But,
Not
I'm
yet.
playing the Tomb Raider.
Want to give the guards a decent
Oh my
head
goodness.
start.
I love that game so much.
Right,
When I was
that's
playing
my
it on the
cue.
PC,
No hard feelings, yeah?
they had this mode where, like, after you beat the game, you could run to any of the campsites. And I would go to, like, a couple of the old campsites, but there would be, like, no characters there. You just essentially walk around. I mean, there's the animals and the wolves, but nothing else too much.
Now I'm screwed.
And then, and so on the Xbox version, and the reason why I got the Xbox version is because
Think.
my computer spends so much time rendering. I mean, it's almost
there it is.
24/7. They spend rendering, and that I just don't have time to play any games on the PC. So that's why I like consoles, because I mean,
This way, this way.
I mean, if I really wanted to, I could turn a console into like a render node or something. But I like to keep it dedicated for gaming, so I don't. But essentially, every PC I take apart, I usually convert into some kind of rendering machine. But anyway, so I installed Tomb Raider, I started playing it, and
Suckers.
I did the camp mode where you fast travel through any of the camps. And then I was like, oh, that's funny. Because in the Xbox version, and I have the definitive version of the Xbox, it still loads like enemies and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's
You
funny.
overlooked one little
And so there was
detail.
this one level I was doing, and I got to
Face
this
it,
part,
genius, you've
and
been
there's this part where you're supposed to shoot
Oh,
this rope
really?
and then you crawl away. I was like, I can't shoot it because like there's
Hey,
a
hey,
rope on
hey.
the other side,
Jackass, you're
The-
ruining the show here.
Ah, what a shame.
like the icon for where you're supposed
Sully.
to shoot it.
I really can't
There's
leave
nowhere you
alone
can
for a
attach the
minute.
arrow to. I
Man,
was
am I
like,
glad
that's
to
weird.
see you.
How you doing, kid?
And so,
doing just
but just
great.
playing that one area, I was like, oh man, I had so much fun.
Had to
But
grease
I
a
actually
few
went back
palms.
and I was like, I'm just
Did
gonna
go through the rest
play
of
through
your
the whole
money.
game again.
Good chunk of my own, but
And it was funny because
Jesus, you stink.
Yeah, not half as
this
bad
will
as
be
that
like my
cigar.
third playthrough
Hey, how'd you find me?
Tomb Raider,
Well, friend of yours asked for my help.
and it's still fun.
Hello, Nate.
Oh, no. No.
Now wait a second.
Sully, kick her out and shut the door. We're safer in here.
Just wait a goddamn minute. Hear her out.
Thank you, Victor.
Hey, no offense, Sully, but you're not exactly the best judge of character, especially when it comes to women.
Fair enough. All the same.
Dear God.
But
Oh,
yeah, I'm
no,
having a
it's
lot
not
of fun.
that
in
bad.
it, and it's,
Look, I have my
I
own
mean,
bucket.
I'm blasting through it.
Last
I'm
Sully
already
was
at
saying eight
like
of us had to share.
40% of the way, and I was
Listen,
only
You know something, I
playing
really
like,
appreciate you dropping by,
No,
but if you and Flynn hadn't
3
screwed me over in the
hours.
first
Now,
place,
wait
I
a
wouldn't have
minute.
been rotting in this shithole for the last
Listen,
3
Nate.
months. So excuse me if I'm not just, leaping into your arms.
I had nothing to do with it.
Right.
I told you. He's not going to listen to me.
Screw this. Nate, they found the ships.
In Borneo.
Yes.
And the Chintamani stone?
How do you know about that?
Do you really think Flynn could have figured that out on his own?
All right, good point. No, they haven't found it yet.
What do you mean they?
Flynn and his client, Lazarovich.
You know, the nutcase. They've been working together all along.
All right then. If they haven't found the stone, that means there's still time. You're gonna get us into that dig site. We are gonna snatch that treasure right out from under them.
They'll never see it coming.
Yeah, well, payback's a bitch. Look, they called it the wish-fulfilling jewel. It's a sacred object.
What, like a Buddhist holy grail?
Exactly.
Thanks.
Sully, listen to this.
and then in terms of
In the kingdom of
editing,
Shambhala lies the most
I
precious
have a new
thing to be
series
found
coming
in
out.
all the world.
I wasn't sure in
A
which order I was
perfect
going
raw
to release
sapphire
it,
of the deepest
but it
blue,
looks like
larger around than the
my
reach
next
of a
series
man's
on
arms.
flotations is going to be
That's gotta be
a
worth millions.
series I call
Hundreds of
Project
millions.
Newfoundland,
And you say there's more of
and
this?
it's
Loads more. Lazarovich paid top
photography
dollar for Marco Polo's journals.
that,
He's been after the Chintamani stone for
from
years.
this trip I did
If
going
he's been counting on
through,
Flynn to find it for him, it's no wonder he hasn't had any luck.
through
If I
really
can get a
through
look at Lazarovich's
Michigan
files, I can
up to
find that stuff.
Nova Scotia
Hang on
and
a
then
minute,
finally
cowboy.
to
That's easier said than done.
Newfoundland. I had to
Files
take a ferry.
are in his tent, and his tent
Yes.
is in the middle
Really
of the
beautiful
camp.
location.
It's
I mean,
like
the
an
whole way through
armed
Canada.
compound. There are soldiers
And,
everywhere.
It's the
Wow. That's why
It's
it
the
has
east
to be
side of Canada.
an inside job
And so
from someone they know and trust.
really, like, I have
Oh. Okay,
rough
I see
edit
where this is going.
finished,
Just need a
and so I'm
diversion.
doing the
Give
test
me
renders
5 minutes
now.
in that tent. That's
And what's
all it'll
interesting
take.
about this
Really?
is
5 minutes?
it's not
Well, that's great. I won't
with
even have to get my top
quotations.
off.
I usually use like
Chloe, I
photography
was
from
thinking more like an
my
explosion.
35mm camera and
Or
everything,
that.
but this
Can be
this edit
arranged.
is different, where
Are you in?
it's
Oh, hell
it's
yes, I
photography
was in before
from
you were.
a stereoscopic camera, and it's the same camera I use for live to tape, but instead of using like video and everything, I used still images
You reading us?
from the footage. I've been editing this forever, and there was never really a good way to edit 3D footage. I wrote a lot of the programs that I used to edit it, so I filmed it in
I also left the detonator for you.
I filmed it in 2012, and then
All right.
I've been writing
one's
into the
set.
programs, and so
Don't
that took a while. I didn't
touch the
really
button.
finish writing a lot of the editing software I use until
set all the charges,
it was like 2015 that it was really finished. There were like a lot of different versions I wrote, and so like the first version was done in 2013, but then I kept thinking of all these features I wanted to add to it, and it's really stable, and it uses FFmpeg and FFmpeg, and then it also uses Blender,
Sweating like a hooker in church.
but it allows me to render
Why not?
in full resolution 3D, which is full 1080p for the left eye and full 1080p for the right eye. And there was a lot of
Let's take these guys out.
a lot of things I had to learn about editing, like one Premiere Pro and Premiere, they don't really handle 3D well, if at all. And then I used Avid for a little bit, but setting up the video for 3D is so complicated. And then both with Premiere Pro and with Avid, you can't export the 3D video at full resolution, which is like the left eye and the right eye. What you had to do was you could either swap out the media and then hope that Premiere didn't notice, and then you can export the left eye and the right eye, or two,
Looks like we can swing across there.
you could use Cineform, which is a codec by GoPro.
All right, hold on, Grandpa.
GoPro bought
See
the
if I can
company that
find
made
another way
it,
up.
and then that would let you export with the 3D with side by side, and side by side is okay. I mean, if I was to come up with the standard of 3D, I would use kind of a 4K model where you have the left and the right eye compressed, not compressed, but combined, and it's the length of
This way.
4K resolution, where it's
You should be
3
approaching excavation site 1 by now.
380, 40, and then just by 1080p.
Take them out fast. We can't let them go back to camp.
So it was a long process, and it was a long learning process. Where originally the footage I used from Newfoundland, I used like the motion. I used like full clips, and like there was some stuff that was shaky cam and everything because I was filming a lot pretty quickly, and so then on these other projects I was working on, I really started to do more of the photographic animation, which I call flotation.
You should be getting close
And
to
so,
the first camp. I've planted 4 more charges
earlier
in
I
there,
did have
but you're going to have
a
to
rough
clear
cut.
the place out before you can arm.
But like I said, there was a little too much shaky cam, and the really scenic things that
You ready
I
for
wanted
this?
to show off,
Let's do it.
they were short clips. They were like 10 seconds. But with 3D, you really want longer clips because it gives the viewer a chance to look around and to see everything, and they get to judge things, the depth and everything. So instead of having like the depth of field from the camera, the user really gets to choose where they want to look. And they get to see how far the different spaces in between everything is. So that part's what I really wanted to show off. But 10 seconds is like short per clip. And so then what I did was I went through and I did essentially like a screen capture. I mean, I would take a frame and then I would animate the rotation, which is like the slow zoom in or zoom out, and the slow like pan to the left, pan to the right, and then each frame I would edit to be about 25 seconds long, and then each project's about 20 minutes. And so I still have to. I have several scripts written, and there's about 24 episodes for Project Newfoundland, and so I just have to record the scripts, and then I have to do a little bit more rewriting because I have to make each one 24, and so most of the scripts are longer than 20 minutes, and so I have to cut them down and move them around. But I'm really happy with it. I really enjoyed the editing process, and this is technically like the 4th time I've edited this project.
All right.
So, but I really feel like this is the best way. And with the other projects, I always felt like they were missing something or they could have shown more. And so finally, I don't feel that way with this project. I feel like it's very close to being finished. I feel like it's on track.
Let's go pay Mr.
And
Lazar,
I kind of felt bad a little bit. I mean, there was this thing that Colin Moriarty said, "I'm kind of funny and now at Colin's Last Stand," but when he was talking about
Come on over here, I'll give you a boost.
The Last Guardian, I mean, he always said,
Come on, gorgeous, jump up.
You
Got a great ass, Sully.
the development was like obviously going nowhere because the entire Uncharted game trilogy came out, The Last of Us came out, all before the entire time that The Last Guardian was in development. So I kind of felt bad because it's just like, it was the same for Project Newfoundland. It's just like Uncharted 2 came out, Uncharted 3 came out, Halo 4 came out, Halo 5 came out, and like all this time had passed. It was essentially 5 years of research and development, editing, learning new things, and then going back. But the thing I tell myself is just like, I'm the only one who was there to do it. So like, in terms of man hours, I'm sure if I had like 3 or 4 more people helping me with it, it would have gone a lot faster. But still, so I've been kind of like anxious about this project and wanting it to be done, but I wanted it to be done right, and I really feel like it's really close to that.
Here's another one for you.
And so it's going to be releasing the same way as
Enough of this frivolity, kid. Come on, we got work to do.
Live to Tape, where there's going to be the 2D version that's going to be released, and then the 3D version. And the 3D version is the combined side by side at kind of a 1080p canvas.
Never gonna forget that.
And then I'm also going to release kind of the full resolution 3D,
See the camp up ahead.
but that's going to be for VR. And so on Live to Tape, I have this this kind of video format, and it's for VR with your with your cell phones. Almost said headphones, and so you just put your cell phone in the goggles, and then the VR plays.
Well, now, wait a minute.
It's combined in a way that there's no head tracking, so you won't get that much motion sickness. There's almost no motion sickness, but it is stereoscopic. So, and it's a lot nicer. I really like 3D with VR because I feel like it's the perfect. It's like the video is going, straight into your brain. There's
I can't explain.
there's very little like bad side effects, like with 3D TVs. Because there's always like some issue with 3D, with the 3D TVs, like with the active shutter, you have to worry about the batteries running out. It's a lot darker than the passive glasses. The resolution is higher, whereas with passive glasses, they don't take away so much of the brightness,
It's all yours, kid. I'll cover you
but
from here.
each eye does get half the resolution. based on the polarization. So there's downsides to both active shutter and passive glasses, but with VR you really lose. You don't have those issues, and so what I noticed with the 3D with VR is like you really see, like you choose what you want to focus on. You want to look in the mountains, you can focus in on that. You want to look in the foreground, you can do that. So it really gives people like a more choice of where they want to look around. And then again, no head tracking, and so that means that more resolution is dedicated to that specific view. And so like if you like look at VR video, I mean a lot of it is filmed in 4K, but you don't get to see everything in 4K. You can't look at all 360 degrees of the 4K at the same time. It just wouldn't make sense to your brain. And so even though it's shot at 4K, you're only seeing like maybe standard definition or worse based on which angle you're looking at.
This Lazarevich guy isn't screwing around, Sully.
So you really need to shoot at like 16K.
He's got files in every expedition to
barely
find Shambhala.
8K. I mean, you really need high resolution for VR if you want for every angle you look at to contain a 1080p
Worthy
view.
Pilgrim is granted a golden passport.
If you want like a 1080p
obstacles on
viewport.
his journey to Shambhala.
And so there's not much that compresses it, and you can't stream 8K or 16K to a PC. I mean, you can if you have like Google Fiber, but nobody's gonna host that, and then the compression is gonna be so high.
By the dreadful
It's not gonna be worth it. And then
from
the amount of
Shambhala.
processing power you have to have real-time panning and stuff, it just doesn't make sense.
Wait a minute.
I mean, in the future, it will be done. It will be great.
Sully,
It will be
I don't
great when we
think
get
the Chintamani
that,
stone is
but
here.
we're not quite there yet.
Listen to this. I would have sooner endured the wrath of Kublai Khan himself than remove the Chintamani
And so,
stone from that sacred shrine.
The full resolution
Polo never
3D
had the
for
stone.
VR, it's
I don't know.
it's a 4K canvas. So, and there's in terms of line of unique data, there's
Must
3,840
be trying to pick up Marco Polo's trail.
lines, and so
Back
that's
to Shambhala.
two 1080p streams. It's the left
Because the
eye,
stone
the right
is
eye,
still there.
and then
Chloe,
the
can
height
you
is
talk?
1080p.
Yeah, I'm here.
In all this digging they've done, have they found any bodies, any remains at all?
And so if you have a phone that has 4K, like
Over 600 people were
some of the
shipwrecked
Samsung
here, yet
phones,
there's no bodies.
and
Don't
you
find
watch
that
it
a
in
little
VR,
odd?
you actually get to see full
Where'd you go
HD
if the
3D
tsunami hit?
without any of the compression
Bingo.
issues or
We head to
or
that
things
mountain.
like that.
What do you bet we find Marco's
So that's going to be
pals?
coming to Flotations
Chloe,
as
can
well.
you meet up with us?
Already on my way.
And the other projects I'm working on at Flotations, they're
Gonna have to give me
not
a minute,
everything
Sully.
Flotations is going to be doing is going to be in 3D or VR, and so some of it's going to be so it's going to be 70mm photographic animations. Others is going to be animations in 4K, and so a lot of cool stuff's going to be starting to be coming out of Flotations in 2018 and beyond. And rendering for 4K it's not easy. A lot of the assets for the photography and everything has to be in like 50 megapixels and above, because 4K is about 8 megapixels. So if you like zoom into a photograph and like zoom in twice as much, it still has to be 8 megapixels zoomed in all the way. That means the original image has to be at least 16 megapixels, so that by the time you zoom in, it's 8 megapixels, and then but sometimes I do it like a 3 times zoom in or 4 times zoom in, so it has to be significantly higher. And so a lot of the photos were captured at like 30 megapixels, and they're upscaled to 50. So there's no you don't like see pixel artifacts or anything like that. And so that takes a long time to animate. And then I kind of made this, it's not a new form of animation, but what I do is I animate I animate, instead of animating at 30 frames per second, I animate at 120 frames per second. And then I use frame bleeding to compress those 120 frames together into being 30 frames per second. So what that does is it makes all the movement like really crisp and clean, and it just flows so much better.
I got more than I can handle here, kid. And send reinforcements. Fall back, Nate. I'll do what I can from here. Help me, kid. You gotta take out the tower.
I got you, Sully.
Nice one. Shit! Help me, kid. You gotta take out the tower.
I got you, Sully.
Nice one.
And then there's this game that came out for the Xbox 360 called Need for Speed The Run. And instead of doing like an open world kind of racing game like they did for a while, it's more linear, and so it's like one giant race across America, and so it has some like really cool scenic drives and places to go. And so like there are a couple of, they call them stages, and so like each stage is like 6 races, and so like one stage is like running through San Francisco, and another stage is like going through the national parks in like California, and then so it's like really beautiful, but it's for the 360, and so it's kind of last gen, and going back and forth between the graphics, there's a little dip, but I mean it still holds up, and the game's still fun, the gameplay's still good.
Should be this way.
And so I mean like I said, there were a couple of places like I really enjoyed driving through Colorado, and it's Colorado in the winter. And then you have kind of the East Coast you drive through. That's a lot of fun. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like start this game from the beginning. And so it's funny because I mean the one thing I don't like about the
Look at these stones.
Need for Speed for the Run
Now we're getting somewhere.
is that it has a lot of like cutscenes where you essentially have to button mash, and they're not racing scenes. I wish they were like just cutscenes you could watch, but
Would you look at that? Oh, yeah.
Hey. Hello. What do we have here?
With any luck, the last
And
resting
so,
place of Marco Polo's crew.
started over from the beginning.
Shall we check it out?
And it's just like there were so many levels that because I never played the beginning, because once you beat the game you can
This place
pick
must
wherever
be
you want to
thousands of years
start.
old.
So like you know what, there were so many good like races in the beginning, and
Down
it
this way.
starts off in San Francisco. It's not that I
Like
don't
we
have
hit the
anything
jackpot.
against San Francisco. I love San Francisco.
Hundreds
It's
of
just
bodies
like the
down.
reason why I didn't play the beginning part
The
so much
teeth.
is because there's like
all black.
5 different cutscenes you have to button mash
They're
through,
all that way.
and so it's just like I usually like to
They
hit
must
the
have taken
ground running.
refuge here during the tsunami.
There's got to be some sort of clue around here.
And so the other night it was Thursday
I
night,
found
and Thursday is the last day I have class.
They must have
That,
carried
so
their
Thursday's
cargo
kind of like
all
my
the way up
Friday.
here after they were shipwrecked.
And so I was like, you know what,
I've seen this before.
it was nighttime, and I was like, everyone was still awake. And so I have my surround sound system connected to my Xbox 360.
Sully, give me a
So
light.
it's like, I'm going to be playing this loud. I'm going to be, you know, I want to feel all the different cars around me as I'm driving with the sound and everything. And so I had a lot of fun. And I got like a third of the way through the game. I was
This is
like,
blood.
wow.
Everywhere.
Because usually I don't play that
Massacre.
much.
All right, let's follow the blood stains. We'll see if they lead somewhere.
And then I've been doing a lot of gardening. And even at my house, what I've been doing is our lawnmower has a vacuum that, you know, can suck up the leaves and grass clippings. And so I've been collecting leaves like crazy. And so what I used to do was I would take the leaves it collects it into a bag, and then I dump it into a lawn bag. But I had to collect so many leaves that it would take too long to do that. Because, like, you know, like the bag would close when you're dumping from one bag into the other and everything. It's really difficult to like hold the bag high enough to where you could dump the leaves in. And so I made like a huge leaf pile over the course of 2 weeks. And then, it was huge. And then I was like, I just collect it, you know, at the end. And so now we got into the point where there aren't so many leaves that are falling. Most of the trees lost all their leaves. And I started bagging the pile, and I'm halfway done with the pile and getting rid of all the leaves. And I did over 45 bags of leaves. And so then I'm taking them to the street, and I'm like, I really hope we have in Michigan we have like the trash department comes, and then the person that takes away like the gardening clippings and lawn stuff, they come too. And then we also have recycling now. So I was like, I really hope the people that take away kind of the lawn care stuff, I really hope they take it, because we've had an issue where like they get angry at us because they're like, they don't like the way we stack our bags. And so usually what we do is we just put it all in the line, so that way people don't have to worry about it while they're driving. But 1 year they were like, you need to put your lawn bags in like a circle, and it's like, that's gonna take up like a whole lane of the street. And they were like, okay. So this time I did 3 rows. And did 3 rows, and like it was a big pile, and it was 45 bags. So you can do the math on like how long the pile was with 3 rows. But I was like, please, I hope they take it. And so they came early, and I bet you they weren't happy. Like, dear Lord, what's this house doing? So that's only half the pile. And this weekend I have to do the rest of the pile. And so luckily we got our lawn bags from Costco and everything. So it's not cheap, but it's like, it's a discounted price. But yeah, I definitely had to get more lawn bags. But then, the funny thing is that the pile, I mean, it was up for 2 weeks and it rained a little bit. And like, I should have known this. But as I would take like the top layer off and the bottom layers were decomposing. That's not the surprise. The surprise was like how hot the decomposing layers were. It was like dipping your, and it's cold outside, so there's like a big temperature difference. But it was like sticking your hand in like, I don't know, like warm soup or something. It was just really hot. And then when you're like scooping up the leaves, it was so hot that like my glasses would fog up while I was scooping them up. So like, that's funny. And it's like, it's creepy because like everything else is cold, but leaves that you're scooping up, they're like really warm. And not only that, like once you uncovered a layer of leaves, it was just like steam would come up. And so I was like, huh, that's funny. I never really thought about that. Decomposing, gives off heat. But then, I mean, like, I should have known that. because
Ended this war.
when I would drive to my high school,
It's odd.
we had this joke where if
This moves a little.
there was this
Sully, help
mulch
me out.
factory, and so they have their mulch kind of,
With the pussy.
it was like on the side of the freeway, and you could see where they stored their mulch, and they were like, if the mulch is steaming, then you know we're gonna be late or something. It was like our superstitious thing. It was like I should have known mulch, steams, but
The trail leads in here.
I guess I just didn't. I guess I
More bodies.
just assumed that you needed like a really
Maybe
big
I'm
pile
crazy.
for that much heat to be
It looks like
generated.
they all killed each other.
So there's like an idea. If you're like stranded in the forest or something, collect a bunch of leaves to like sleep on that. And it will keep you warm. Very good insulator, I think.
Look at this. What do we have here?
Careful.
Christ almighty.
Just kidding.
Nate, you're gonna give me a goddamn heart attack. Oh. Man, is that an ugly friggin' thing?
What is it? Some kind of weapon?
No, it's a purba. It's a ritual object from Tibet. It's used to destroy obstacles.
Huh?
Spiritual ones.
Oh.
And I've also been redesigning
Could this be
the
what Marco
flotation
Polo was
website.
talking about?
Kid, I don't even know what the
And,
hell you're talking about.
In his journal, he wrote that
I've been like combining
worthy seeker
different
would be given a
projects
golden
that are,
passport
and they were meant
conquer
to be
obstacles
combined.
on the journey to
But
Shambhala.
there was this series I did, and I'm
That's
still
all
going to do
really
it. It's
interesting,
still
but where
continuing.
the hell is it
But
a
it's called The
passport
Master of Art
Well,
Monthly, where
Maybe this
there's like
map would
a
help.
printed book you can
Let me
get,
see that.
and there's already 4
Between
books,
Greater
and then
India
there's
and the
also
province of Tibet
Amazon
lies a field of exquisitely
Amazon
finished
ebook for the
temples.
Kindle,
Hundreds of
and the
gilded
Kindle
spires
version,
stretching
the
as
Master
far
of
as the eye
Art
can
Collector's
see.
Edition.
Well, I know this
Series
place.
1.
It's in Nepal.
Yeah,
It has
except it's
all 4.
not just a field of temples anymore, it's a city.
Well, that could make things a little more challenging.
Now, hold on, there's more. In all these many temples, only one
Has all 4
conceals the secret path to Shambhala. And that path shall only
print
be
issues.
revealed to the pilgrim
and
who bears
you
the
can get it
golden
for
passport.
$2.99 right now for the Kindle, and it works on the iPad, the
Respect, kid.
iPhone,
So what are we waiting for?
and
Let's get
it's
out of
really
here.
dense. There are like tons of photographs.
See
in
ya.
it. One issue we had has over
get
2,000 photographs in it, and that's the June issue with photography from Manhattan. But I was redesigning, so like if you're going to look at the photographs from like
I'm
each
gonna go out and make
chapter
sure the
in
coast is clear. I'll see you
in
in
the
a bit.
magazine, you can go and say, oh, I want to see chapter 3 of Master Art Monthly, issue 1. So you can go there and then you can see the photographs. On top of that, you can see the flotation, the photographic animation from YouTube. You can see that right next to the photos. And then on top of that, now it's combined
In
where
here!
you can
It's Drake!
What the hell are...
Get your hands up.
You sure know how to pick 'em.
Shut up, Sully.
Should have known it was you.
so then you can like you can see the photographs, the video,
Goddamn
and then you can
Sullivan.
also
You still
see
dragging this
the,
tired old sack of shit around?
Easy, Nate.
That's
you can
pretty
also
ballsy
see
for a
like where
guy
you
who
can
spent
order
the last 3
the
months behind
magazine from.
bars.
Better than pissing
And the
away 3
magazines are
months in the
printed to
jungle
order.
without a clue.
So if you like,
Found the ships,
you
though,
can
didn't
order
they?
like 30
Couldn't
of them
find
and
your
they'll
own ass
ship
with
it to
both
you.
hands.
And a map.
But
They came from down there. Whoa. Harry, look at this.
Speaking of maps, between India
so-
and Tibet, one temple will reveal a
Pathway to Shambhala. Jesus, Flynn, while we're young.
and so I'm really working on combining
Don't
all
be such a
that.
bad sport.
And
Take him
so
to Lazarevich.
that
You're gonna wish you'd
the
stayed in prison,
redesign
mate.
of that part took
Move.
a long time. It was like it was like 4 days of working 8 hours every day on redesigning it.
Come on,
And then on top of that, the other thing I was doing is I was working on new blog posts.
Shit.
Are you all right?
Yeah, well, it'll make it look more believable. I'm gonna try and buy you
New
some
blog
time.
post for the blogquotations.com.
Chloe, you have to come with us.
No,
And so
just meet me in Nepal. Now run.
the new photographs I'm
Let's go.
preparing to publish
I
are
like
from the
her.
collector's edition.
Yeah,
So if
bet
you
you
want,
do.
you can go to the Master of Art. No, to a quotation store, and you can see the collector edition photographs. But they're going to be posted also one at a time on quotations.com. And that's mainly because the quotation site, it has kind of a big social reach, and so the quotation website spreads the blog posts to Tumblr, to Pinterest, to Facebook, to Twitter, and whatnot.
Damn. Now what do we do?
We jump.
Oh, hold on there, Sundance. You gotta be out of your mind. We'll break our goddamn necks.
We get caught. Lazarevich will break them for us.
So a lot
Getting
of
too old
a
for
lot
this
of the blogs
bullshit.
are coming back
Don't
right
you
now.
start this again.
Europe,
Listen, I don't have
the
your
Europe
luck.
blog is active.
Guys like me gotta know when to walk away
The
from
wildlife
Sully,
photography
we're gonna
blog
get out
is
of this, okay?
doing well, and these
We
are all
always do.
blogs that are on
the tape. You go meet your
quotations.com.
girl in Nepal. I'm going somewhere
And,
warm.
Come on.
And some of the blog
You can
posts
tell
are
me all
posting
about it
things
when you
of
get
like
back.
unlisted photographs.
Oh,
So a lot of them you can only find on the blog.
Shall we?
And so
After you, Butch.
that's true of
See you
all
now,
of
kid.
the wildlife photographs. They're being slowly released, one at a time,
shit.
each day.
When you said Lazarevich had a head start on us, you weren't kidding.
Well, he's had some help from the local guerrillas. The city's been on the brink of civil war for years. He just needed to throw a little gasoline on the fire.
Charming.
Yeah, well, all the chaos provides some cover while he destroys the city looking for the right temple.
Oh
Nate?
my goodness.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm kind of playing with the
You're not
idea
having second
of like
thoughts,
giving
are
up on dating, especially with
me?
the holidays.
Never.
Good. 'Cause I'm so
I mean,
ready
I
to
feel
be
like the
done with
holidays,
this
especially
clown.
starting with Thanksgiving,
You got a map?
that's the time when like everyone
yeah.
breaks up with somebody
I'll meet you in the old
because they don't want
market.
them to like
Things are pretty
come to all the
quiet
family
over there.
functions.
All right,
It's a
you
high
got
stress situation. That's why the majority of breaks that happen
You got company.
Oh,
for the
great.
holiday
Did you do
season.
something?
So I'm
I
not
think it
really
might be too late for that.
looking to like start a relationship right now because I feel like that would be too much pressure
Nate, are you alright?
on both
I've been
parties.
better.
In general, it's just I'm just getting tired. Tired of. I mean, not rude behavior. I mean, it's kind of rude, but then like a lot of it's dealing with spam accounts and it's just people texting like inappropriate things. I mean, there are a lot of people that the first thing they text is like, "Hey, shit." It's just like, seriously, I don't need that in my life right now. It's just like, I'm done. And then like I feel like 90% of the people I do match with, I'll send the ones I send. Like, hello, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Saw you like this. I get no response. It's like, oh, that's dreadful.
Okay.
And then what little people I do get a response from,
The
they just
old
end up
market.
ghosting after like 2 or 3
Be
replies.
this way.
And like replies back and forth. I don't keep sending messages with no reply. But
Go, go, go!
so it's just,
He's here somewhere.
I just feel like it's not adding anything to my life. And I'm talking about internet dating.
Your eyes open.
Like, I'm not opposed to going out and meeting people. I've just been so busy that not much of that happens. And so that kind of the thing with internet dating was like, oh, it's like convenient, but it's really not. I mean, I just feel like the connections you do make aren't like that great from internet dating. And I mean, like, the whole thing is creepy, you know? It's creepy because, I mean, you're just meeting some random person online. No idea if the photo of them is really who they say they are. I mean, there's a lot of spam accounts. And, And then there are people that were like straight up asking me for money. It's like, I don't even know you.
Okay, now we just gotta find Chloe. Nice parking job.
And then I've been feeling great. I mean, it sounds kind of like, you know, I'm getting sad and depressed quitting internet dating, but it's not really. It's just, it doesn't bring anything really into my life, and I'm trying to cut back on things that are just not positive and whatnot. But in general, like I'm feeling a lot better, and like I'm having more energy. Like throughout the day, like I set goals of things I need to accomplish during the day. And before it was just like, you know, I run out of time, didn't get to do everything. But now I feel like I'm accomplishing everything on the list. And then it's like, I finish everything I want to get done in the day. And it's like 6 p.m. You know, it's like, I still have a lot of the day left. I can continue working. And so there have been several days where it's like that, where it's just like, oh, I'm going to think of more things to do I need to do today. And so that part's been great. And then on top of that, I have more energy, where before I needed 12 hours of sleep, and now I'm perfectly fine with 8 hours of sleep or 9 hours of sleep. So I'm actually like waking up because I'm like fully recharged. Where before it was like I'd wake up to an alarm and it's just like, oh, I want to sleep an extra couple of hours. And just always being tired, and so it's nice that I don't constantly feel tired anymore. But the other day, my laptop has a solid state drive, and what I noticed with the solid state drives is they work great, they're fast until they get full. So like if you fill them up like all the way, it becomes really slow, can't do anything. And half of that is because the operating system wants to load things into soft space and it can't. So the operating system is like starting to choke. But then also I feel like the solid state drive is just starts to get unresponsive. On top of the operating system like really slowing down. So that happened, and so like the operating system was so slow that I couldn't like even go to empty the track. So then I opened up the command prompt, and like usually what I do is like I delete all my podcasts. So I opened up command prompt and I went into the
always saving your ass.
Went to the directory where iTunes was storing my podcast, and I just like remove directory. And so I did that, and then boom, the computer instantly worked again.
Is that an
But then it started to get like really chunky and slow again, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. There's like there's 10 extra gigs free.
Yeah, hello.
And so then
this is the key to everything.
so then I shut the computer down and kind of went into
passport to Shambhala.
diagnostics mode, where I was able to repair the hard drive.
Actually,
And
I do know
really important,
Lazarevic won't get very
you
far
don't
without it.
defrag a solid state drive, but I did try to like repair the partition and whatnot, and it kept coming back error. You
So
know,
what's our
like
next
you need to
move?
reformat this drive,
Nate?
and then it will work again.
Hate it
I was
when you
like,
do that.
So then I boot back into the operating system, and it
See
will
the
work
symbol?
fine for like
Yeah.
3 hours, but then
Go
it like
there.
starts to choke to where
Okay,
it
I see
becomes
resemblance,
unusable.
so what does it mean?
And I was like,
It means
so
we know
some
how
things-
Marco Polo found
I
his
think there was
next
like
clue.
one sector that was
The temple
damaged
we're
or
looking
something,
for is gonna
or
be
not
marked
not
with
so much
this
like
emblem.
sector, but like
Now all we have to do
something's happened
is
with
find it.
with
You do
the
realize there are
partition
literally
table,
hundreds of these temples throughout the city.
and so it's
Yes,
causing
but
the
if
system
we
to like
found a
choke
higher
on
vantage
certain
point.
processes.
We could spot our needle in the haystack.
So I really think
There's
part
a
of
hotel
the
not far from here.
part of the solid state drive is corrupt.
Chloe, now is not the time.
But,
It's easily the tallest building in
so
the city.
I took one of my hard drives.
Okay,
I have a
that's
500
good thinking.
gigabyte hard drive. And
Follow
then,
me.
I wrote a program a couple of years ago, and so it allows you to transfer files to another hard drive, but it's called gently backup because if you copy like all the files at once in the operating system,
It's locked.
if it has problems with one
Wait
file,
here. I'll see if I can
it
find a
will
way around.
automatically, cancel the copying, and then it will say, it will delete everything that it did copy. So a lot of times, the reason why I wrote the program was like I would be transferring like 200 gigs or 500 gigabytes of data, and then the operating system would be like, oh, there was something wrong with the last file, and so then it would just cancel. And so the reason why it's called gently backup is because it copies it a little differently, where it recreates all the file pathways to where you're copying, and then it will copy one file at a time. And so if one file fails, it will tell you which file failed, and then it will just move on to the next file and copy that one. So I did that, and then it takes a long time to copy 500 gigabytes of data, and like the smaller the file size is, it takes a little bit longer because it has to it's more intricate work that it has to do. If that makes sense. It doesn't take longer than a Word file doesn't take longer than like a 1 gigabyte file, but if there's like 3,000 Word files, it
Hey,
takes longer than you
I can see
think.
the hotel from up here.
Yeah, I know, we're almost there.
And so it took like 8 hours, and then I converted it into a backup disk, and it's been the irony is, so I formatted the disk and turned it into a backup disk for my laptop, and then the laptop is like working relatively fine now. I mean, occasionally there's like a little bug, and so like this one time it was telling me that like your system ran out of memory, you need to force quit all your programs. And I was like, what? You didn't run out of memory, you still have like 10 gigabytes of free. And this is a Mac, and so what the Mac does is like once the RAM is filled to capacity, what it will do is it will start to use the hard drive as swap space. And that's kind of like in Windows, that's like using page files. And Linux and Macs could call it swap space. And so that's where the hard drive pretends to be like extra RAM. And because it's a hard drive, it's slower than RAM, so you don't really want to use a lot of swap space. But usually, swap space. Well, if your swap space is full, that means like your operating system's gonna run slower. But I would look at the hard drive and it's just like it still says you get 10 gigs, free, and still use that as swap space. But it was giving me problems. So I'm hoping I don't have to kind of restore from the backup. Mainly because a lot of the Adobe products, like when you restore from a backup, they don't trust me. So I don't want to have to go through like the re-authentication process. Because I have CS6, I don't have Creative Cloud. I don't want Creative Cloud. So it's like a whole process of re-authorizing where you have to get on with tech support until it's really the same machine. It's just a hard drive failed. And tech support is great with Adobe. I have never had a problem. They understand like the issues and are able to resolve them with me. It's just I don't have to get to that point. So we're nearing the end of the Let's Play. I want to thank everyone for coming out to Thumbs United. You can check out the other work I do. You can go to lcd-productions.com, and there's like there's a full list of everything I do. So there's Thumbs United, there's Life to Tape, Project Aerospace is still in the works, but there's Photations and Photations.com, and then Photationsstore.com,
Well,
and that's where a
Guess
lot
we
of
have that
the
one covered.
fine art photography I do goes. And then Live to Tape has a lot of travel videos and stories, and it's really about exploring America and the American landscape
Give me a boost.
right now.
I think I can reach that ladder.
And then and there's Patreon if you want. Everything gets released to Patreon first, including these Let's Plays. These Let's Plays get released as one big chunk. So like all 4 of these episodes will be up on Patreon before they come to Twitch. And then the way it works
Boy,
is it
it's a
goes to
shame you have to sit on
Patreon, and
something
it comes
that-
to Twitch, 1 episode a week, and then it goes
Here
to
you go.
YouTube.
Say I never do anything for you.
And then Thumbs United on Twitch, I'm also doing creative streams where I show you kind of the editing process. There's no dialogue. It's just I put music in the background and I just go through and work on different projects. There's the medium format editing that I'm doing, and then there's the America Series 1 photographs I'm editing.
Come on, this way.
And so a lot of the projects, as they become public, I eventually release the editing streams.
Okay.
Any day now.
Just don't want to get a skin cut.
That was chivalrous, huh?
Yeah, it's not dead. You just got to ask for it.
So thanks for tuning in. This has been Thumbs United.
Too well for the resistance.
Creative streams are Wednesday and Friday, and game streams are Thursday and Tuesday. And then on the weekend, I usually like to do a marathon of gaming. So thanks, and bye-bye.